What's a scam most people don't realize is a scam? People instinctively perceive weight to indicate quality. So a lot of manufacturers across multiple industries will artificially increase the weight of their products with cheap material. Edit: if one of you clowns responds with Beats by Dre one more time, I'm going to get Dre himself to personally beat you with one of the weights he puts in his headphones. I used to work for a cable company who released a new TV remote. Complaints came rolling in that the new remotes were cheap and awful. Huge PR disaster. So we offered all the customers the new V2 remote. It was literally the exact same remote, just with a metal weight installed inside it, and all the complaints disappeared. Aaron's rent-to-own South Carolina car title loans. Shitty story with a good ending involving Aaron's. My first roommate rented a TV and PS3 from Aaron's years ago. He dipped out on the lease one day while I was at work. Came home, all of his shit was gone. Repo men came a few days later demanding his TV and PS3. I told him he dipped out on the lease a few days prior, and I had no idea where he was living. I'll let him in. My mistake. I know I was young and stupid to show the guy his empty room with the trash he left behind. Explained he left me with half a lease I couldn't afford, and he was a real scumbag for doing that. But I had no idea where he was. But he wasn't convinced, so his partner comes in and cornered me, and they took my TV and PS2 Slim instead. Told me I shouldn't hide my friend from them next time. I called Aaron's and demanded a manager and told them they could either hand deliver my shit back to me that day or I'd be going to the cops. Explained, sorry, my ex-roommate was a bag of shit, but I had no contract with Aaron's and they had no right to take my stuff. Guy was super apologetic and said they would have my things back by EOB. I described what was taken, and that was that. A different guy showed up with my PS2 and a flat screen. Said the manager fired the guys who hassled me and my TV was broken. Apparently they told him the same thing I told him, that my roommate moved out and there was nothing to recover. Assholes were too stupid to remove the TV and PS2 from the truck though, so they were found out pretty quick. Unfortunately the TV fell over in the truck and smashed, so the manager sent the guy over with a 40 flat screen as compensation. No idea what happened beyond that with those guys, but it was ducking wild. That said, Aaron's is totally a rip-off, but they made me whole and the guys were fired, so all's well that ends well. Anything Dr. Oz is promoting. Highly recommend the You're Wrong About podcast episode about Dr. Roundsit. Spends an hour on how he went from a top tier surgeon to basically a used car salesman. Hey, at least used cars are useful. Overpriced gojaberry, akeberry, propolis, chlorella, whatever shit he sells is just ducking useless. With that money, over the years, you can buy fish, fruits, veggies for your health and a used car. Those fake sales, where they jack up the price before the sale. Edit: try to check the price history if it's available. I spend a decent amount of time browsing deals for my small sub our lowest price deals, and I'm lucky if I find one good deal out of a 100. Also there are some amazing communities on Reddit for deals like Argamedials, our Bold app sales and our discounted products. So basically, Black Friday sales LOL. Black Friday is its own scam. They manufacture products specifically of lower quality to sell for Black Friday. It's how you can buy a nice Samsung TV that only has one HDMI input. Pay to get knowledge, to be a mother-in-law-millionaire. I know someone that is participating in this scam now and is convinced it is legit. I've always been curious what kind of content they actually provide in these online seminar things. So once, when I was an insecure young teen, I bought this book advertised on the back of 17 magazine that promised to make me irresistible to guys, make guys notice me, get me a boyfriend, etc, etc. In reality, it was just full of cloche advice like, be yourself, be confident, repeated in many different ways. I mean, I guess that's what 14-year-old need to hear, but that is not what I was looking for. I needed specifics. I think these seminars are like that, a lot of success stories and a lot of platitudes about follow your dreams. Don't take no for an answer. You gotta spend money to make money. Emo brother-in-law game ads. Chances are they want your data info on your device and it's social engineering. Really? Yeah, plus they look completely different when you actually install the game. I learned quickly you had to truly read some reviews of the game. 50% of the time or more it was a matchup game. If you have to pay to secure a job, it's a scam. So MLMs. If a product was good and set at a reasonable price, the producer would sell it to stores directly and make more profit. If you have to commission a salesperson in order to sell a very simple product, it's because your product isn't good enough to sell on its own. Except cars. Because there's some god-awful monopolistic bullshit going on with cars. There are a whole slew of legitimate products, generally very expensive ones, where you have to commission a salesperson. The difference with MLMs is the salespeople are the primary customers. Yes, whether it be from a store or a commissioned salesperson. For a legitimate business, the customer is able to exchange money for a good or service. If you have to be an employee to consume the product, you are the product. About 10 years ago, I was recruited multiple times for Vemaverve. The first time it was brand new to me. I got some free samples. Thought alright. Yes, this tastes fine. I'd pay $2 a can before a night out. My friend went through the spiel and invited me and the rest of the recruits to work under him. I'm like HM. So we'd be sales reps and go to stores and bars to sell this. Or I'd be a sample girl and you'd be my boss. Well, maybe. What are you paying? Oh no. I have to pay him $100 a month for a case of Verve that I give out as samples, and I recruit other people who pay me 4 cases of Verve, and they recruit people who pay them, and so forth. I was familiar with the term pyramid scheme, but was always under the impression that a pyramid scheme had to lack a product. In that moment, I thought, I guess pyramid schemes can have products. Every time after that, I showed up to a party or a conference, saw it was a Vema thing, and said, yes, okay, give me your number, I'll totally call you about it, while father-in-lawing my purse with energy drinks, because I didn't mind the taste at all. But you can't just duck and buy them. There are just too many answers. Work in banking for 1 week. You'll realize there is no scam too stupid for people to fall for. At least once a week we have people who try to father-in-law fraud claims because the eyes called me and told me I need to pay them in Apple gift cards. My favorite was a woman who came in to get a $20,000 official check. My manager thought it was strange, so he stopped to ask her what it was for. The client said it was bail for her nephew, which the client thought was strange too, because she didn't actually have a nephew. Edit JFCU people murdered my phone. Cheers for the awards. My favorite was a woman who came in to get a $20,000 official check. My manager thought it was strange, so he stopped to ask her what it was for. She said it was bail for her nephew, which she thought was strange too, because she didn't actually have a nephew. I really can't understand how people's alarm bells don't go off when they get coached to say things like these. Like, yeah, I can understand falling for someone impersonating a government official. I can understand going along with the weird payment instructions, gift cards, Venmo, etc. But when the supposed government official coaches me to lie to the bank teller or store clerk because they might stop me from getting the money I'm supposed to pay, how does that compute at all? Because a lot of time they are old and or just young enough to not understand it as a scam. They also try to use fear and shame. The police will be arresting you in the week, or wouldn't you be embarrassed about this? Essentially they use social engineering to scam people of money, and if they are old or young it makes it quite a bit easier. If you don't know better, there's also the your son is in the hospital and needs X amount. A couple ways to protect yourself. Ask yourself, have I done anything to warrant this call? For example, why is Microsoft allegedly calling? Did you just take your computer or other item into a company owned by Microsoft to have it fixed? Or put in a large order with them or something? If the answer is no, then they will not make a house call for a virus, hardware issue, or really anything else. And they definitely won't ask you to pay off the alleged debt with Google Play cards. Ask questions. Do not answer this even indirectly. When they call you and say your grandson is in the hospital, don't say, oh no Michael. Say which one. Even if there is only one. If they do not say the name of the bank, company or organization in the opening line, it is most likely a scam. It is true that they do have automated systems for some situations, but every time I have been contacted by them, they state the name in the opening blurb, whether it is human or automated. If you're wary at all, find a card product, Google their customer service number, and call that instead of the one they give you. If a reference number is provided, keep it, and ask the agent you speak to about it. Depending on the service, you may have to verify some information. But if they are calling you, they should not need to verify much with you. However, certain institutions cannot give out information for safety purposes, so many will be limited in the information that they can provide. If you receive a call and all they do is provide your personal information and ask if that's still correct, for example, is the address at 6969 Parkway Doctor still correct? A legitimate company would most likely ask, is the address on father-in-law still correct? Then disconnect and call back. Sorry for the long post on a simple question, but share it with friends and for mother-in-law if you want. These aren't always questions that we think of when we are scared or tired. If they do not say the name of the bank, company or organization in the opening line, it is most likely a scam. These days they make up official sounding names to try to trick people, so that's not always a reliable rule. Like the very common Visa MasterCard account services that calls me all the time so I can pay the overdue balance on my credit card. This happened to me today. I asked which Visa card and they mentioned they support all the Canadian banks. So I asked which one, since I have multiple, and the guy picked one of the banks I don't even have a card with. So satisfying when they hang up on you, lol. Most popular branded sunglasses out there are crazy expensive for what is basically mass-produced plastic. Most of the brands are a single monopoly. Buy online instead. Link. Stores that always have big sales are actually just charging you the accurate price of what the item is worth. But when it looks like you're getting it half off, you're more likely to buy it. Back in 2012, JCPenney got themselves a new CEO who immediately began to implement fair and square everyday pricing. No sales, no .99s, but straight up honesty with the customer. You can walk in any day of the year and know you're getting the best price the store can give you. Amazing, right? Every shopper's wet dream. Yeah, no. The global sales after that was implemented absolutely tanked. CEO didn't last 6 months. And after they fired them, JCPenney went back to original practices. But they did it so fast that people were able to screenshot prices on one day and then on the next, and catch a ton of instances where the item doubled in price and got a 50% sale tag slapped on, putting it right back down to the fair and square price. JCPenney has only recently recovered from the financial ruin brought about by trying to be honest and genuine with their customers. Yep, they follow the Kohl's model now. Everything is insanely marked up, but there's always coupons which you can stack. Feeds into the psychology of getting a deal, as now you're not just shopping, but beating the system. Even though it was designed exactly to give you that feeling. Unpaid internships. There are very specific rules for what can be an unpaid internship and what has to be a paid internship. If you are getting any sort of internship, look up the difference so you don't get taken advantage of. Telling interns this has contributed to me losing a job before because one of the interns turned me in and later got my job. Edit. Here's a fact sheet for the US Department of Labor regarding unpaid internships. Link. Edit to Canada's internship laws, which are marginally better at protecting interns than the US's laws. Link. Some colleges will offer a full ride scholarship to any student who stays above a certain GPA. Give these out to everyone who applies, and then institute a strict grading curve so that the required GPA is nearly impossible to achieve. The scholarship usually only lasts through freshman year as a result. It's usually shitty for-profit colleges that do this, so the credits won't transfer. The student is now forced to either pay full price tuition for 3 years or lose a year's worth of work. Timeshare condos. I always see commercials for companies that say they will buy your timeshare, but I just wonder what they do with it afterward. Do they just find another sucker to buy it from them? People who knock on your door asking about your windows. Happened to my friend's wife. She invited them in, let them evaluate, said all the windows needed to be fixed. They were all 3 years old. My friend did a full reno when they moved in and said the windows were bad. My friend's wife thinks everyone is truthful and agrees to start the process. My friend said he came home to find them still there, and his wife was seconds away from signing and writing a $6,000 check. He politely asked them to leave and calmly told his wife she was no naive. If someone comes knocking at your door to look at anything and you didn't call them, it's a scam. Giving out your personal information to a company that uses a third-party data entry company. That third-party company is selling your personal information off, which they can because you agreed to the terms and conditions. Small towns giving speeding tickets to people with out-of-town license plates. Almost everyone will pay instead of showing up to court, and it is the #1 source of revenue for many small towns in America. It's called fine trolling. Herbal detox products, or detox anything in a health store. It's just dumb. If your body is actually full of toxins, a herbal laxative enema is not going to help. I had a friend who used to post anti this kind of stuff on her Facebook. She was a scientist, worked in a water purification lab. She'd put up stuff like detoxify your body by having a liver. Ink cartridges being unreasonably priced. College textbooks. It doesn't cost hundreds of dollars to print a book, and we don't need new editions of algebra and other basic subjects every semester. We're not uncovering or developing any new basic math. They just want you to have to spend as much money as possible. Any unsolicited call selling you anything, just nope out and hang up, or make stupid sounds until they hang up. Payday loans. They are preying on people with bad credit. Instead, get yourself a secured credit card. That's a one-time payment. I initially went through Discover. Whatever you deposit is now your credit limit, and the interest rate on even the worst card is better than that they offer. Pay it off every month, just like you are forced to with your payday loan. You're doing the same thing you were previously, only now you're building credit instead of paying some scummy company. Yep, I'm one of those suckers who did this for far too long. Then I did this, and now I have good credit. I was actually quite surprised how quickly my score went up. That's my one neat trick: pay your brother-in-laws on time. Mega churches. When the preacher's suit cost more than your car. It's like they haven't read the Bible at all. Free trials that ask for your credit card anyways. I've never tried buying them because I don't know what actually happens, and I don't wanna lose random money. Use privacy.com to create a card with a spending limit. When they try to charge it, the transaction will fail, and you won't be charged if you forget to cancel. Not necessarily a direct scam, but most of the posts you see online that are like your Oxford strip or whatever name is the street you grew up on and the name of your first pet are just looking for people to comment on to common password security questions. Some are more obvious than others, but I'm always amazed at how many people reply to them.